Hey guys. So yesterday we made our little no scrap ephemera booklet. And someone commented that I went off screen when I was doing part of the stitching, that they needed to know. So I thought I'd jump on here and do just a quick little video on how I do this 5-hole stitch. I don't know if it's right. I haven't actually looked, but this is how I sew all of my signatures, so that I have both tails on the inside. If you don't want your knot on the inside, so say you're doing like a hidden spine or something and you want, the knot on the outside, you can do this exact same thing by starting on the outside as opposed to starting on the inside. And I will do that sometimes on my journals, but I kind of like the tails on my journals. I'll leave them long, so I like the way that that looks. It's just personal preference. So this is how I do it. And someone asked, so I said I'd get on here and show you. So I have already cut down these pages. So they are 8 by 6, so 8 by 12 opened up. I marked the holes in the exact same place that we did yesterday, so that they are even. It was 1/2 inch, and starting from this side, 1/2 inch, 2 1/4, 4 inches in the middle, 5 3/4 inches, and then 7 1/2. So they're all 1 3/4 inches apart. So let's grab our thread and our needle to get started. And I kind of measure my thread about 2.5 times the length. I mean, it's not an exact science because I'm going to end up cutting off the excess anyways, but 2.5 I know will be enough, and I won't have to start over because my thread's too short. We'll just thread that through. All right, so starting on the inside, make sure our papers are together. I'm going to start on the inside and go out through the center hole. Come on, tail. And then I'm going to flip this tail over here and hold it with my finger to help keep the string tight. And that just helps in the process of stitching that your stitches are nice and tight and you don't have to tighten them up at the end. But you can. So if they're loose, it's not a problem. You can tighten them up after all the stitches are done, really. So we'll come back in and weave back out the next hole. So this is the top one. Now we're back on the outside again. We are going to come back down. So I'm going to go in the next hole down. You see that? Back out the middle hole. And I do try not to sew through the string as I'm going, which is hard sometimes depending on the type of string that you or thread you're using. I do try not to sew through the middle of the thread itself, like separate the strands of the thread when I'm going back through holes that I've already stitched through. If you do have to tighten your stitches at the end and you have sewn through the middle of the thread at one point or another, when you're pulling your string taut, it can create issues for it moving through the holes easily because it's going to try and pull on itself, and it's just kind of a pain. So if you do sew through your thread, it's not that big a deal. I usually just take the thread out of my needle and pull it through, unthread it, and do that one stitch over. It makes it easier, so in the long run. So now we're going to go to the bottom half. We'll go inside, back out. I almost unthreaded my needle. I was a little too overzealous. Back out the bottom. And then we will come back in that stitch there. And then back out the middle. So now this is where I guess I went off camera, and it was confusing. So now I have one string on the outside and one string on the inside. What do you do? Well, what I do is holding this taut the string on the inside taut with my thumb right here. That string is this first stitch. So as long as I'm holding that tight, this first stitch is going to be pretty tight. So I'm going to take my needle. I'm going to go under our first stitch, under, and then back through the loop like this. I'll show you again. Let me start it over. Maybe I can get a little closer. Let's see. Okay. I am going to go under. Come on, focus. Hello. Will we focus? No, we don't want to focus. Well, we need to focus. Oh my goodness. Maybe. There we go. Okay. So we are going to go under the first stitch. Maybe. All right, I got a hold of it. Go under the first stitch. And then back through the loop. Can you see that? And then holding that first stitch pretty tight on the inside, I'm pulling this all the way down to the center, like so. So we've created one loop of the knot. Go back under and through our loop. Now we've created 2 loops of our knot. You're going to go back in with your needle through the hole. Flip you over and pull it through. And when you have multiple sheets, you can kind of hear the knot pop through. Don't pull too hard. You don't want to rip your paper because it is just paper. But pull it tight through, and then you have your 2 ends, and then I just tie a knot with these 2 ends. So 1 and 2. Then you can leave your tails. For these booklets, I cut them off. But once you've got it pulled tight, you can trim them like that. And then you have your stitched booklet. Your stitches are nice and tight on the inside and the outside. You can hear a little pop, and you've got your nice knot. So that is how I do a 5-hole stitch with the strings ending on opposite sides. Now with this, I did want to mention, you know, if you don't like these, like I said, if you don't like these, you can put them on the outside. You just do the exact same thing, just starting on the outside and running in and out. Then your little knot will be out here, and if you're doing like a hidden spine, then when you glue your spine onto, or you know, when you glue your spine onto your cover, you're not going to see your little knots, and the inside will be nice and clean. So that's how I do it. I hope that was helpful. Next video, we are going to be doing the envelopes inside our little ephemera folder. So stay tuned, and I'll be back soon with that. Thanks, guys.